Thank you for listening to Project Creator. My guest today is Noor Z from the YouTube channel Bark Noor Z, which you can find in the description below. Noor and I had a great conversation about her background as a video creator, but also we did a deep dive and deconstructed the life of a YouTube video creator, the ups and downs, the challenges, and what it takes to persevere on the YouTube platform. If you would like to be a guest on the podcast, please get in touch. And if you would like to support the podcast, I invite you to visit my Patreon link, again in the description below. And of course, I would appreciate your support. Noor, thank you so much for joining us on Project Creator today.
Thank you so much for having me here.
So I am keenly interested to talk about your journey as a content creator. And I know primarily our chosen medium is YouTube. But I have sort of seen an evolution of your content from 4 or 5 years ago to what you do now. But there's always been a couple of interesting things that I've seen you do and I wanted to ask you about for so long. What I would like to do is just take a moment and have you tell the folks who are listening who you are, what you do. What is your channel called and what is it about?
So my channel is called Bark Noor Z. The name is just so my name is Noor, and I just kind of made that up as a username when I was maybe 12. So it just kind of stuck around. And I don't know, I've been making videos for many, many years now, actually. And I've been through all these different phases where like I just tried different things. I had different interests over the year, and that showed in like the different kind of content I made. And right now I just kind of do stuff that reflects whatever is happening in my life, slash if there's anything I'm thinking about, then I just kind of make a video about that.
And it's interesting because, you know, it's on the YouTube platform, it's normal that folks would use the idea of kind of documenting my life, right?
Mhm.
And that's a pretty basic staple of a lot of YouTube channels. But what I've always found interesting is how you, from the moment I saw your first video all those years ago, how you approach building and constructing and putting together a YouTube video that I found somewhat unique in the different folks that I watched over the years. So I want to kind of get into your thought process on how you compose these things. Uh, is there a plan to what you do? Do you have a certain sort of structure, or how do you think about putting together the videos that you make?
There's definitely no plan. It's definitely more of a, I guess, a spontaneous thing. I mean, I do structure in the way that I kind of write down in my notes, like, oh, I want this to happen first, and then this, and then that. But it's unorganized in the way that sometimes while I'm editing, that changes. Like the whole thing can completely change while I'm editing the video, and I decide, you know what, maybe I need something new. I need a new part, or I want to change the beginning completely. So it's definitely very messy, and there's no like specific kind of planning that goes into it. I feel like I got lost from the question. What was the question exactly?
Well, and yeah, like you answered a big piece of it,
Mhm.
which is, you know, do you go in with some plot outline and bullet points? And it sounds like you do have kind of
Mm.
at least a basic idea of, I know what I want to accomplish here, and you know, and point A, point B, point C. But it sounds like you, in the course of it, you're open to watching that evolve
Mm.
and change
Mm.
into something else, or maybe I missed something and didn't think of something. Do you find that you will just film a mountain of video, just you know, a big pile of all kinds of clips, and then go back through and find the pieces that you want to put together?
Yes, exactly. That's the perfect way to describe it, is that I might be filming all these different things in my life, and I might have an idea like, okay, this thing is happening right now. I could make a video out of that, but then there's all these other things too, and like, do they work together or do they need to be two separate videos? That kind of thing.
Is it a lot of instinct involved? Is it just sort of you see it and you go, well, the light bulb goes on, wait, that's the one right there. Like if you're sitting there, because I've been there, and you know what you wanted to film, and you ended up with this, let's say, 6-minute piece of video, right? You've got this clip, and you got to sit there and sift through and find that spot that, oh, that shows what I wanted to show, and then I got to throw out the rest and and somehow fit that in. Like, is it that detailed for you?
Maybe not that detailed, or like it's not that the way you described it with like a light bulb going on. I feel like that's maybe a bit too extreme in the sense that it's not that how do you say it? Like it's not just this one moment where it's like aha, no, it's more like this. I do think I spend a lot of time thinking about it, and sometimes I might even ask a friend. I'd be like, what do you think? So it's more intricate than it is this like one moment of a prodigy emerging kind of thing.
Right. Okay. Um, and so, as I said in the initial, we crossed paths way back in 2016 when I first started my channel. One day you popped up in my comments section on one of my videos and left a nice comment, and I thought, okay, that's cool. Let me go. That's a neat username, Bark Noor Zed. Let me go see what that's all about. Um, and when I jumped over to your channel and I started poking through the videos that you made, I was a little bit struck by how um, well composed your videos felt even all those years ago. And let me if I may frame this a little bit differently. You were a young or maybe teenager,
Hmm.
right? You were a teenager in those days, like maybe a little bit older, but you're a young adult now. So 5-6 years ago, that was what, secondary school for you?
2016, I may have been either like in my very last year of high school or at the very beginning of college.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. And and again, I found, and this is what I really wanted to ask you about. I have always found that there is a certain like automatic or natural documentary film feel to these short little YouTube videos you make. And is that something that's ever been a part of your thought process? Like, do you ever think that I'm making little documentary films? Because I'll tell you right now, Nora, they feel like them.
No, I never thought of it that way actually, but I'm very, very happy that that's how they come across because I mean, that's cool. It's cool that you think they're like these documentaries, but that's not how I ever really thought of it.
Hmm. Was there any particular set of influences as you were making your way into that space of content creation? Anybody that you looked at as an example, or I've saw somebody do this and I'd like to try that. How did you come by developing your style?
Developing myself. I what I do remember is that for a long time I was doing these videos that were just kind of regular YouTube videos. Like I was doing, daily vlogs. I was doing, I don't know, like book reviews type things. Like for the longest time, I just kind of did what what was just kind of usual of YouTubers. And I think sometime around 2017 maybe I was really really bored. I remember like so extremely bored. It was like maybe the holiday in between semesters or something, and I imagined this video where I was like describing the way I was bored, but also like with these different clips, so that like these clips, but then with a voiceover. And that was the first time like I came across the idea that I can do something that's not a vlog, but also not like just a sit down video. Like it's just something with voiceover and maybe effects or something. That was the first time I tried it, and then I tried it a few other times, and then somehow slowly it morphed into whatever it is now.
And I think a lot of creators feel that way too. Like it's, I don't know what it is. It is what this is what I do. I don't know what to call it. It's just sort of what comes out naturally. So this past year, I was keen to see the videos you were making. We're kind of talking about leaving home and studying abroad. Talk me through that experience, not even just as a filmmaker, but listen, as a parent of young adults myself. I'm interested in your story of leaving home and going to another country and studying. Talk to me about that. How did all that happen?
I would say that was okay. So, how it happened is that my college is kind of like this. I guess you could say like partly German college, but it's in the country that I'm in. It's a Jordanian college partnered with something in Germany, and it's kind of a requirement for every student to travel to Germany on their fourth year. And so my fourth year came around, and that was going to happen anyway. And I signed up. I got myself like the city or the university I was signed up to, and it was time to go. And I really did want to, because I'm a very how do you call it, like I get attached to things really really strongly. So like if I have to leave something, then I'm so dramatic about it, and I need to like write about it, or be just very like, oh, I'm leaving this thing now, and what do I do? And so I thought, you know what, I'm gonna make a video about it. And for the longest time, I avoided doing or saying vulnerable things in my videos because I was afraid of coming across as too dramatic. Even if I'm a dramatic person in my own life, I didn't want to be that on YouTube. But I did it anyway. And I made this video, which was like about me leaving home. And I was surprised that this like very personal thing, a lot of people liked that video, and a lot of people related to it, and that was just like a whole new step for me, which is like, you know what? I think people do care, and they do want to see a vulnerable side of you. Like it's more likely that they are going to relate to that side than they are going to be like, oh, she's so dramatic. Like that's a lot less likely than the alternative. And so I made that, and I went to Germany, and honestly, it was one of the best experiences of my life. It was just this whole new world, just going out there, doing your own thing, meeting new people, all of that. It's something I would recommend anyone try if they get the chance to try it. Even if it's just for a month, if you get the chance to go somewhere new for a month, do it. I really recommend it. And I made, I think, some of my most favorite videos over there. And now I'm back, and I'm being dramatic once again about being back. And that's just kind of what I'm doing.
Oh, and yeah, that, you know, when I was putting together this podcast for Project Creator, that was the thought I had, was like, okay, let's see now, because Nora's putting out some more videos now, and I'm curious to see. And you picked up the thread immediately as soon as you got home and said, ah, that's that space that I know, and I'm in that room again, and I feel like I never left, but I feel like I haven't been here in 2 years. And it was really an interesting window into the thought process. And I think that might be where the voiceover part of it really comes in useful for how you put together your videos, because you're able to kind of capture those thoughts that you may not have necessarily been capturing when you set the camera up on the edge of the table and took an image of your bed or took an image of your closet. Did you have those thoughts in your mind of what you wanted to say in that moment? Or was it you came back later and looked at it and said, now let me record this voiceover?
Usually with the voiceovers, what happens is that I'm having these thoughts, and then I immediately write them down in my phone or in a notebook, and I just kind of write the whole thing down. And then later, as I'm filming, I'm like, so does this suit this? Do I like, I might tweak it a bit, I might change it around, or I might decide like, okay, no, this isn't suitable at all. But it's usually like I write stuff first, and then as I'm filming, I see like, okay, does something need to be added or removed or da 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 da.
Ah, makes a lot more sense. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying, because that I was thinking about, yeah. So what you're saying is the notes that you make either on your phone or in a notebook, those notes are what inform your choice of where the camera's going to go, what the shot. Okay, I wrote this thing down, this sentence. I throw a pillow, and now I can think of as I think back to your older videos, there was always this sort of undercurrent of comedy to a lot of what you did. There was a lot of little like pieces of humor or little ironic statements, and to watch those go from, again, a young adult into now you're pretty much an adult now. Welcome to the real world, my young
No.
friend. um but to see that you still kind of capture, to me, those little moments of humor and irony in among what feel like real emotional experiences. Do you find that you are still trying to kind of keep those little pieces of irony and comedy in among the coming of age and life story topics?
Mm. I mean, it depends what kind of comedy you're referring to, because I remember I went through a phase where my comedy was kind of like sketches, like two characters of myself speaking to each other type of thing.
Right.
Yeah, so I guess
Those were always so much fun,
those
right?
are fun. I still like watching people do those. But for me, like I think I've done that less and less over the years, where I guess I lost interest in doing that myself. Although I do remember I did one video in Germany where I did that and I enjoyed it. But I don't know, I guess I'm losing interest in this whole like two characters speaking to each other type of thing.
Do you think that was a trend on YouTube? Right, we all did it. I did it.
Oh yes, yeah. It was a trend for the longest time, yeah.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, I remember those moments of setting up and thinking, what better way to relay a conversation than with myself?
Mm,
I can have
mhm.
my internal dialogue all of a sudden out there and have another character who's me but not me, speaking back to me. But no, I think I haven't done that since 2018. Probably it's been a couple
Yeah.
years since I because now I don't know. I guess that whole thing feels adolescent to me now. Now
Mm.
back then here it was a 40-year old man acting like a fool in front of a camera and then acting like a fool in front of a camera again. Um, but that feels like I think maybe we've all kind of outgrown that a little bit in the creative space.
I mean, I guess it was the most popular back when YouTube first started, especially like those Fred type videos, Smosh type videos. It was the most popular thing then. And I guess in general, comedy sketches have kind of not been as popular on YouTube recently. Like maybe the only person I watch right now who does sketches is this guy called Joel Haver, I'm not sure, but he's great. Like he's the only one right now which I would really watch do these things, and he does them just really perfectly.
Mhm. What other influences do you find? Who inspires you to to go a certain way with your content, or how you again approach filming style, or how do you have anybody that you look to as kind of a an inspiration right now?
Yes, I have two YouTubers who I love very, very, very much. And I only discovered them like very recently, like maybe a year ago. But they're both just so amazing. And I found that the kinds of things that I want to do are very, very similar to what they do. Like I really want to aspire to be more like them. They're Hey Ex Natalie, if you've ever heard of her. And this other guy, Aiden, his channel's called Valspire Family. And they both do this kind of thing where, like, they mostly do like travel videos, except not the kind that's like super duper cinematic. And it's more like personal and up close and just very genuine. And I love them both so, so much. They're my biggest inspirations at the moment.
That's excellent, and I've not heard of either of them, but that's the nature of YouTube, where there are so many amazing channels out there. And it's funny, my children will say to me, "Oh, Dad, Ethan's video in this," and I go, "Who's Ethan?" And they look at me like, "How do you not know who Ethan is? Ethan's like the biggest star on the planet." And I've never heard of him. And I'll look and say, "Yeah, but have you seen this video by this person?" And they'll go, "Who are you talking about? I've never heard of that person." Well, they got 10 million subscribers. How have you not heard of them? It's just an interesting ecosystem where we're all in there doing our thing and creating these videos, or these stories, or these movies, or these sketches, or
Mhm.
these vlogs, or these whatever. When you started, I'm gonna rubber band, I'm gonna ping pong all the way back to the beginning again. When you started, did you have something particular in mind? Like when you started your channel, did you have any vision of where it would ultimately go, or how long you were going to do it, or did you have any plans to like be successful on YouTube?
I mean, once again, there was no plan. I mean, when I started it, I actually had a different channel. I had many different channels where I did different things. I was maybe 12. At some point, I did like comedy sketches, and I don't know if you know anime music videos. You basically just get clips of anime and match them up to music, and it's this really cool type thing. Yeah, I mean, I did all these different things, and I was just kind of doing them for fun. And then at some point, I was like, daily vlogging, that's the thing. I love it. And I was just doing these daily vlogs. And I mean, of course, I always wanted to be successful, I guess, in the YouTube terms. But it was never like I could imagine what I would be doing like in a few years because I kept switching up anyway. Like I kept changing what I wanted to do. Did you have any vision like that when you started?
I knew that I wanted to do something different creatively than I had done for all of the decades prior. I had started in content creation in one way or another. I was in high school, I thought I was going to be a musician. When I was in my 20s, I thought I was going to be a writer. When I was in my 30s, I was doing a radio talk show on the internet. And all of that came, and I had several years of enjoying making these different types of content in different mediums. And then I did nothing for a long time, and I started looking at YouTube as, yeah, why not? Right? Well, I can get a camera, and I can, maybe this video. Let me, and it was like I got bit by a bug, and I was instantly enamored with YouTube. Like, oh, I fell into making videos so hard. I have always had this dream of becoming successful or famous or something. I wanted to get famous for something. Again, when I was a child, I wanted to be known as a rock star and be on MTV and music videos. When I was in my young 20s, I wanted to be an author and be known for my books. Um, Chased all those different things, but never really found that thing that was going to launch me into stardom. So the YouTube, I thought, yeah, look at some of these people. They can do this. Who's this PewDiePie guy? What is that all about? Oh, I don't play video games. That's not going to work. I don't do video games. Um, but I thought this is an interesting path. I think I just you kind of articulated it. I think everybody that starts YouTube says to themselves, well, yeah, this would be so cool if my channel took off and all of a sudden I had 1 million subscribers and all of this and this. But we all sort of, we go, no, we tamp down our expectations and say, yeah, but that won't be me. I'm just doing it for fun. I don't care. I'm just doing it for fun. All right. Is that like a defense mechanism for YouTubers to kind of like protect ourselves from getting our feelings hurt?
Maybe, yeah. So like we're just trying not to get the expectations too high. So we're like, I would rather. But to be fair, I'm actually really, really glad that I never, how would you say it, like took off or blown up when I was younger. Because imagine if I had, let's say, blown up when I was doing like these daily vlogs, and then I grew up a little and found that I don't like them anymore. And when I wanted to change, I would pretty much lose my audience, and or I would find it really, really hard to change or try something new because would feel like I have to stick to this thing. So in a way, I'm so glad that I never took off or blew up, or else I wouldn't have found what I'm doing right now. And right now, what I'm doing feels like this is my favorite thing to do. And who knows, maybe in 2 years that will change too, and it would be good that I didn't blow up either. I don't know if you feel the same way.
It's hard to say, right? Because I came into this world of creating this kind of content already as an established adult living a life, working a full-time job, raising a family. um and you're right. There's this thought that, yeah, it would be nice, but I don't know if I'm going to want to do the same thing. I think I suffered, my channel suffered a bit over the course of a couple of years. Exactly what you said. Like when you change gears because you're no longer interested in this, well, the people that showed up for those videos are coming back and seeing something that doesn't make any sense to them now. Like, what is this? Since when does he do cooking videos? I don't care how you make avocado toast. I came here to see a thing about a movie.
I love avocado toast.
But yeah, I think we all naturally kind of evolve and change. Um, but what do you think is that, that how do you maintain that audience, right? How do you keep them coming back and watching again?
Is this in the case that you did change the way that you do your videos, or is this not in that case?
Well, what does that bring to mind for you? When I ask that question, what does that make you think of? because it could be
It
either.
could be either, yeah. I mean, I guess for when you want to change styles or something and you already have like a big audience, maybe, I don't know if this makes sense, but maybe starting a new channel would be kind of like the more right thing to do, and then slowly stepping away from the first channel and slowly like getting more into the new channel and seeing if that works out. So you haven't really lost your audience, but you're just trying out if switching over works. I don't know. I have never actually tried it, but I'm just imagining maybe that works. And if you haven't changed your style, honestly, it's scary if you just start losing your audience and nothing you're doing is changing, because then you're like, okay, so what do I do? That's a scary thought. But maybe uh, I don't know. I guess there, to some certain extent, you need to be, how do you say it? Like content enough with how you do your thing and how much you love doing what you do, so that whatever happens in the external world, including your audience, is like secondary need, and not like your first need. As long as like you're fulfilled firstly by doing what you do. Does that make any sense?
Yes, it does, because I think what you're saying, um, I hear being the authentic person that I am, right? It almost, if you've done it correctly, if you have established a connection with your audience because of who you are, then maybe you've found that magic formula that says it doesn't matter what I do, right? Maybe they're watching because they have found an interest in who I am as a person and my outlook on the world and my thoughts on things. And it doesn't matter if I'm making toast or if I'm, fixing a car. They may not necessarily, I don't want to necessarily attract people who are just looking for videos about fixing cars. That's not what the channel was about. So have you found this to be the case? You have let me I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna go over to your channel right now. You have about 4,800 4,800 plus or minus subscribers on the channel. And when I met you, you were pretty close to that number. You were in that 5,000 subscriber range, just plus or minus 5,000. So I wonder if you experienced the same thing I did. There must have been something that you did early on that made that number pop a little bit. When did you see that explosive growth?
So that explosive growth was also my downfall. It was like a double-edged sword. So this growth happened because I had this really, really old video of me showing a Pokemon toy when I was younger. And that all of a sudden blew up. It blew up like crazy. If you go to it right now, like to my most popular, you're gonna see it has maybe 2 million views, right? So this one video of me stupidly showing like this Pokemon toy blows up all of a sudden, brings me 3,000 subscribers all at once. And all of these subscribers, they're here for the Pokemon video, but none of them are there for my new videos because none of them are interested in anything but Pokemon. So I have all these people over on my channel sitting on my subscribe button, but they're not watching any of my new videos.
That is painful. That is so painful, and I've experienced that.
Was it with your clown guy video? You made there was a clown guy.
Yeah, it was this performer, Puddles Pity Party, is this Pagliacci clown who sings like Frank Sinatra and is just this. I just did a video on the guy because I thought he was interesting, and I thought he was a YouTuber. He's not a YouTuber. He's a performer with an actual fan base that's very rabid for his content, and they all flocked to my. I'm now Facebook friends with several people who friend requested me because of those videos, and I'm grateful to say that some of them have turned out to be really good friends that I've met, and never met them in person, but online I've forged relationships with folks because we did have things in common in our lives and similar interests, and it just happened to be because of these ridiculous clown videos that I don't know, I'm not. And I've had several of his fans write to me separately and go, I don't understand why you're not doing videos on him anymore. And that's because never intended to do videos on him, and I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It really is like it hurts because like you do this one thing and you expect that it's going to bring people over to your new stuff, but that's not always the case. Like if it doesn't match their interests or the interests of like whatever this topic is, then the people just never go over to what you're doing right now, and it just ends up being this meaningless number that's just on your channel, and it's just yeah.
Yeah, they disappear. They're there. You said that so well, because there are times that I'll open up my dashboard on YouTube and I'll look at it and go, where the hell are you 2,600 people? Right? Because there's about 50 of you. And the 50 of you that watch are that really core group of almost friends, right? These are people that have gotten to know me, but some other stranger shows up. I've got these other sets of videos that I did about dealing with people who are liars and dealing with compulsive
I
liars,
remember
and
that, yeah.
those stupid videos are getting 30 to 40 views a day, and I don't understand it. And these people think I'm something I'm not. I don't. I went in thinking that I was going to make a video where I look like some kind of a, I don't even know, psychologist, or I dressed myself up in a sweater vest and somebody I was not. And I never thought that people would watch that video and spill their guts in the comments section. Every single day I get comments from people who say, oh my God, my husband, my brother, my wife, my mother, these people has been lying to me for years. And I, sorry. I don't know what to tell you. And those people will subscribe and then never come back.
Yeah.
they,
Yeah.
it's like, I'm still experiencing it now that they've subscribed for something that I'm not, that's not really what I intended to do.
Mhm.
And I'll never hear from them again.
Yeah, yeah, that's so true. And I actually remember that video, and I remember you introduced me to the concept of like a compulsive liar. And I just know that phrase from you. So it's funny because I mean you,
Oh, wow.
yeah, 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 like you did put an effect on people. And once again, it's sad because sometimes it's just not the type of thing you want to keep on doing, and you just kind of have to deal with these people coming in and not really being interested in what you do. But the way I think about it now is just I try to I don't see subscribers as important anymore, and not in the sense that's like oh I'm noble, subscribers don't matter. No, not in that sense, but in the sense that truly not everyone that subscribes is really going to be invested in your videos. So truly it is not important. I know people who watch my videos who are not subscribed to me, but they still watch my videos because they remember me and search for me, or they get me in their recommended. So I think it truly is not important, not in this like noble kind of way, but like really, like actually it's not important.
Well, and obviously it's almost like a smokescreen in a way.
Mm,
It's something on the YouTube platform that makes you feel a certain way when you see that number. But if it doesn't translate into true interaction, or true conversations, or true fans, right? Quote, I'm doing air quotes in the air right now, quote unquote fans. Um, it's hard to stay focused on something other than the number, and remember, no, I'm here to do a certain thing. I'm making these conversations and this content that I'm passionate about. It doesn't matter. And so it's good that you've got that perspective, because I think a lot of YouTube creators really do get lost in that number, in that subscriber number, and
yeah.
it means so much to them.
Yeah, it's hard not to get lost because I mean it's like a milestone. Like when you see it reach like some kind of really neat number like 5,000 or 10,000, like it's like an accomplishment. It does feel good. But when it's a case like mine or yours where you know for a fact that there are 3,000 of those that don't care, that are not here for whatever you do. When you know that for a fact, it really just loses its meaning, you know?
It's hard not to be demotivated by it, but I think that, the staying true to yourself, right, and paying attention to why it is you're actually there allows for more creative growth, and you kind of stay free. I think if you remove yourself from being so worried about it, you can stay open to the next creative thought, or, oh my God, I got a great idea, let me go try this thing.
Mhm.
So where does the Bark Norzed channel go from here? Are you kind of on autopilot? Is this you're in this zone right now, or do you envision something different or new in the future for yourself?
Hmm. Well, once again, I don't plan that far into the future, but I think right now I'm at the point where, for the longest time, I struggled with the idea of consistency versus what do you call it? Quality versus quantity. I
Mm,
struggled with that for the longest time because every single YouTuber is going to tell you like, oh, you have to be consistent. You have to post at least once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week. They're all going to say that, and I just couldn't do that. I really genuinely could not do that. And when I did it, I was not satisfied with the videos that I put out. I just wasn't happy with it, and it just felt really ugh. And for the longest time, I was just torturing myself over this, like being torn of what to do, how to do it, how to figure out the perfect balance. And one day, I just kind of thought, you know what? This is not for me. This whole consistency, post once a week, it's just not for me. I am going to. I want to make my videos the way I want to make them, and in order to do that, I need time. And I remember like I just kind of like I told myself I was like, Noor, you are allowed to take time. And it just kind of became this thing that I remind myself of when I'm being too like frantic about something. I just pause and I say, you are allowed to take time. And I allowed myself this thing where, you know what, you can post whenever you want, whenever your video is ready. And I've been doing that for the past few months. I guess it's obvious because I post once every few months.
mhm.
So I just do that. And honestly, I am happier. I am more satisfied with how my videos are turning out. And surprisingly, I'm not losing anyone from my audience. They are still coming back to watch my stuff. No one's going like, what's happening? No, like they at first they were like, oh, why don't you post? But then eventually they just kind of got used to it. And I think now it's just like, oh, Barkner Z posts once every few months. Like it just became a thing. And I think that's okay.
You know what, that makes so much sense, because when we just got done talking about that core group of people that reliably will show up whenever you do put something up, yeah, those are the ones that didn't go away
Mm.
anyways. And those are those true, oh my god, there's so many loaded words in YouTube and social media. Followers, like I was about to just spit out the word followers, and that just feels like such a toxic word to me. I don't get social media. I don't get but again, I'm a dusty crusty old guy, so what am I supposed to how am I supposed to identify with what the kids are doing
The
these days?
kids.
But what are the kids doing these days? I'm an old man. But that's set up to ask you this question: how do you look at, or do you even look at, the idea of promoting what you make, or is it truly just uh, put it out there and the wild birds are come if they come, or did you ever kind of get into the social media space and try to actively promote the work that you create?
I used to try very, very hard to like do promotions on like, I don't know, Facebook groups, Twitter, that kind of thing. I also found out that it's just not my thing. I'm just not very comfortable with social media and being very open on it in general. Like I can be more open in my YouTube videos, but I don't really like. I'm not the type of person who would tell you what I'm doing today in my Instagram story, if that makes any sense. Like I just don't do that, and I feel like the people who are successful with promoting their stuff in social media are the ones who do these things that are expected of social media, like updating people and telling them about your life and just sharing and stuff like that. I don't do that. I'm not comfortable with it. So I just kind of stuck to whenever I want to post a video, I just post about it on my Facebook and like write something small that might interest my friends and family in it. And on Instagram, like I would try to cut out a very small teaser of the video and post that, and maybe also write something and maybe a story. And that's just kind of it. I don't really go too far to try and promote. And maybe that's wrong. Maybe that's why I'm not growing. Who knows? But it's just what I do.
Well, I don't know that that's wrong in any way, because I think that's the revelation I've had in the last year. I took a big break from everything. I stopped the YouTube channel. I went away and hid in a corner and did a quiet, anonymous podcast for a number of months, just kind of like self therapy sessions and airing out my demons. And never, I put it out there, but I never said my name. I never told anybody where it was, and it was just sort of a dealing with all of the frustration of everything you and I have just talked about for the last 40 minutes. Um, and the social media piece was the part that really just made me realize it sucks. Social media is awful
Mhm.
and it's toxic. And the reason I really, I mean, you're going further than I have been recently. And I'm some of these pieces that I know I need to do with this podcast, like Instagram and others, they just feel icky to me. Like, oh my God, oh, I got to clip out a little teaser that I know I need to do this. But tell me if this is your experience. Does this relate to what you experienced? I I hated it and I stopped doing it, and it was so toxic because everybody I encountered on social media was doing the same thing I was doing. Like, I was never encountering people who were genuinely out there looking for content to follow. All I was finding were other people who go, yeah, look at me. I know, but I'm over there going, hey, look at me. And they're going, no, that's fine, but look at me. And it's all of this big echo chamber of everybody just trying to promote to each other rather than having any valid interactions.
You're right. You're 100% right. And it took me the longest time to realize this, especially when, like, this whole thing when you join a group that's for YouTubers and you're supposed to like help each other out and promote each other. And it kind of ends up the way you're saying, where everyone's just shouting for their own, for attention for their own selves. So I experienced that. And for many years, I didn't realize that the people who I was interacting with, they only watched my videos because I watched their videos back. Or, yeah, yeah, yeah. And for many years, I just didn't realize that. I don't know why, even though it's a very simple fact. But one day, I stopped watching everyone's videos, and a lot of people just flooded out of my comment section. And at first I was like, oh no, like, what do I do now? What a disaster. And then kind of paused there and I looked at all of my favorite YouTubers, even the ones that aren't very famous, that are kind of like half half. I looked at them and I'm like, their comment section, no one is there, like, also looking, no one from their comment section is also a YouTuber and also looking for like validation. And I thought, you know what? Even if all these people flooded out of my comments section, at least it's better than knowing that they're just here because I will do them a favor back. Does that make any sense? So,
Oh my
mm,
God. You are like, you're in my head. Like, you are literally articulating the things that I have thought and felt for quite some time now. And it's I guess it's nice not to be alone in those thoughts and sentiments about social media, because again, we all get this pressure. No, 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 no. You need to be out there. You need to be promoting yourself and putting your name. Oh, God, do I really? Do I really need to? I don't wanna. I don't want to do
uh-huh,
that. It feels wrong. It's almost like counterproductive in a way,
mhm.
because you burn yourself out and you use up your energy on the wrong stuff. Whereas what you said a minute ago was that when you stop doing all that, you suddenly found that I can make the video I really want to make, and I can stop and think about it and just take my time to work and craft this thing rather than just knocking it out so that you can get it out by a certain date.
Yeah.
Um, so you're obviously happier as a content creator now, having stepped away from all that toxic nonsense.
Definitely, much much happier, much more satisfied with the kind of thing I make. And another thing is like the same thing you said about like sure, when I stopped doing these kind of things where like, oh, I watch your stuff and you watch mine and all these a million of favors. Like obviously, when I stopped doing that, all of my views definitely dropped and my comments dropped and all that. But I was like, okay, whatever, might as well have like genuine audience rather than just like I'm doing you a favor and you're doing me a favor. And after a while, I felt like I everything just went back to normal, and I accept that everyone was now just a genuine audience member. Like no one was there just because they wanted something back from me or I wanted something back from them. And it just became kind of, it works in the end. It works, but you just got to take that step to clean out whatever in your life that's not really working for you, if that makes any sense.
Well, and there you go, right? It takes it away from that stressful hobby, like, oh, I'm just trying to, just trying to get followers, I'm just trying to get subscribed, to no, no, no. For me, and maybe this is how you might feel too. Do you consider yourself an artist in any way?
I want to. I always feel like it's above me. I feel like it's a bigger word than me, but I want to. Like I want to at some point feel like I can say that very confidently. But right now I'm just at the point where like, maybe.
What is it? Well, how do you define that then? Like, if I threw that word artist at you, and your response kind of reaction, like, no, 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 I that sounds great and I'd love that, but that's not me. So what is the definition of an artist to you?
I mean, technically, it's what we do. It is what we do. I just feel like it's too big of a like it would be me, like ruffling my feathers and being like, oh yeah, I'm an artist, Um, but it is technically like I do think that anyone who is doing something creative and putting an effort into doing it and doing it beautifully, like that's an artist. It's hard to put it in a box and really say what it is. But yeah, technically.
Almost sounds like, yeah, maybe that word has always come with an expectation of something more. Like, no, no, you got to have an art degree, or you've got to have you got to be a professional something or other to be called it. But I think those of us in the amateur space, that's what we are, right? We're all a bunch of
Yeah,
amateurs. We're not actual, no movie studios providing us with cameras
for
and
sure.
crews to go and make these things, right? But I've always felt like, yeah, any one of us that stops and takes time out of our daily life to make something, and who cares if it's a video, or if it's a song, or if it's a picture, painting a picture of a flower and sharing that with the world, or using your camera and taking some beautiful shots of a sunset. To me, all those people are artists. And maybe artists, I use the word creator now.
Hmm.
The word for me is, I hate the word YouTuber. I hate all of that. I like to think of us all as creators, because we're all creating something that we want to share with the world. We're sharing our passion.
I like that. I think I'm gonna use that too.
You're a creator. I
Okay.
am a
I'm a
creator.
creative. Yeah, we found the word. We found the perfect word.
We found the perfect word. So I look forward to seeing what you do with your content from here. Again, I think you really hit some powerful notes with your leaving home to go away to college in Germany, that experience, and coming home again. Just the I swear, you've got this, Nor, you've got this instinct that just befuddles me when I watch your videos and I see the pacing, and I see how you jump from little shot to little shot to little shot, but somehow you have articulated a very coherent and powerful little story in among 4 or 5 video clips, and you're good at pacing with the music that you use, or when you jump in as speaking on camera, whether it's a, but then you'll jump back to a voiceover again. I'm really curious to see how your art evolves from here as you move into adulthood and get going in the real world and life and jobs and all that nonsense. So, in the real world, what's next for you? What are you doing? What's coming up? Right? You say, you've told me 3 times you don't plan. Okay, I'm not going to ask you what you're planning, but what's next for you? What's your trajectory in life?
I mean, first of all, thank you so much for like the words you said about like my video and all that. I really appreciate it. It definitely like every time someone says something like that, it definitely boosts my confidence so much, and it makes me want to do this even more. But yeah, the plan, the plan. Okay, so I'm actually in my last year of college right now. So I'm just finishing up and doing my graduation project, which is a short film. And I guess after college, we'll see where that takes me. I mean, I might want to do some freelance video editing. I might want to try and see if YouTube works out, if I become a YouTuber creator. We'll see.
Creator.
Uh-huh.
Uh, and is that what you studied? Were you studying film?
No, I'm kind of I'm studying design and visual communications, so I had all these
Mm,
different courses. I mean, I did so many random things. Like I did bookbinding courses and freehand sketching, but there were also a few film courses. Like I had maybe five. And since like it's so, how do you call it? Like so diverse, you can do whatever you want in your graduation project as long as it's part of something you learned before.
I am really curious to see how that education you've gotten as it sounds like a designer in a way, right?
Yeah.
You've taken all these little pieces into design. I will be interested to watch and see how that informs your creative choices and your videos that you make coming up in the future. I'm keenly interested to see where you go.
Thank you so much.
All right. We're going to go ahead and stop there. I'm so grateful, Noor, for the time I get to spend an hour talking to you about what you do and what I do. And thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be here with me on Project Creator.
Thank you so much for inviting me. And I think what you're doing is great. I think you're really really good at this. This whole presenting type thing. I think this is your thing right now, and you're doing really great at it. And thank you so much for having me.